host of the Gridiron.
Giants defense versus the Commanders offense. Well, we know the one thing, obviously, the last time that we played is that the Commanders are 0-6 in the red zone. I mean, absolutely unfreaking believable. I mean, the Giants all game long had 7 possessions. The Commanders had 8. I think the last one was, I think they just had the ball and just ran the clock. It took the kneel. It was after, It was after, I think, Malik dropped the ball, 4th down. I think the Commanders took it, ran the clock out. So they had no aspirations on moving the ball down the field to score. I mean, they just tried to run the clock out. But they had first 7 possessions straight down the field every freaking time. Thankfully, we kept them out of the end zone. But, I mean, we got to do a much, much better job than they did last time. I mean, they had, let's see, team stats here, what they had 22 first downs, 425 yards of offense. They had the ball for 37 minutes. So they had 425 yards of offense. So say 420 in 7 drives. That means each drive, they averaged 60 yards. They moved the ball 60 yards every time they had the ball on average. I mean, we just could not stop them. I mean, it's like a gut punch. We got this one here. How the Commanders' offense might be different this time. I don't know how much they're going to want to change it up this time, but, it worked pretty well for them last time. The personnel, the Commanders' rookie starting quarterback, Jayden Daniels, has to be the early favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He has 1,736 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. Also registering 424 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, so he's easily on pace for, about 900 rushing yards on the season. I mean, fantastic. Got the running back duo Brian Robinson and Austin Ekeler are having some of the most productive seasons of their career. Part of that is due to, obviously, Daniels' dual threat ability, which requires defenses to hesitate to attack the run game as they need to make sure he doesn't get to the edge. Yep. Robinson and Ekeler have put together a combined 701 rushing yards. I mean, fantastic. And 7 rushing touchdowns. They're averaging 5 yards a carry. And they have 286 receiving yards and 28 catches as well. After a slow start to the season, Terry McLaurin has emerged as his usual dominant self. He finally has a quarterback who can connect with him on deep passes. There's a clear lack of secondary options that can be both explosive and reliable in the passing game. Zach Ertz is reliable but lacks the consistent big play ability. While McLaurin is the only true consistent threat on this offense, let's see, who wrote this here? Brandon Olson. Okay. Let's see. He says, I don't think the Giants have a cornerback who consistently match him. Commanders' offensive line has been wildly inconsistent lately, allowing a pressure percentage on 35% or higher in 3 of their past 4 games. That the Giants might have to capitalize on that. Get some pressure on Daniels. Keep him in the pocket. Sack his ass. Right? For reference, the Giants got pressures on 31.6% of their pass rush opportunities against the Commanders in Week 2. You got to credit Cliff Kingsbury for his changes to the offense and allowing players to go out and make plays. The run game has been versatile between gap and zone schemes, finding more success in the running gap scheme, but keeping zone runs involved in the offense. Daniels' legs haven't been used much lately as a design part of the offense, but he's had the green light to take off scrambling whenever he wants, and he thrives in an environment like that. Last time I wrote this, my issues with Kingsbury was that throughout his career and in the Commanders' first game of the season, he didn't put players in a position to succeed. No. He still fails in some areas, but his grown as a play caller despite using McLaurin almost exclusively as a left outside receiver. The play action passing game has unsurprisingly been incredibly effective for Daniels this year, and it leaned more into it recently after not doing so in the first few weeks. Oh, yeah. I mean, you figure play action. I mean, with his ability to be able to run, with his ability to, maybe pull down and run or whatever, you freeze everybody for just a split second or so. Play action can be fantastic. Commanders' offense has opened up significantly since the first time these two teams have played. That Week 2 matchup remains the only game in which Daniels was sacked more than 3 times. A defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, did a masterful job consistently generating pressure. But the one thing is that usually, what you like is when you get a sack, that should be a drive killer. All right, it's second down and 7. Daniels goes back. Oh, sack! That's 3rd and 13. Yeah, we're gonna get off the field. Oh, no, didn't matter. 3rd and whatever, didn't matter. Now, in fact, they were 7 out of 14 on 3rd down, and 1 for 1 on 4th downs. So between 3rd and 4th, they were 8 out of 15. The only 7 times that they didn't make it, right? The 7 times they didn't make it on 3rd down or whatever it was, right? They kicked field goals because they got down the field. Let's see. I mean, Daniels was the first time box score. What running here? Robinson had 133 rushing yards, 17 carries, 133 rushing yards. Daniels, 10 carries, 44 yards. Ekeler, 8 carries, 38 yards. They averaged 6.1 yards. They ran the ball 35 times, 215 yards. They had, after the sacks, they had 210 passing yards, 215 rushing yards. Talk about, right? An even balanced attack. Holy cow. Over 200 yards rushing and passing. Horrible. I mean, for the Giants. But says, I expect the Commanders to try to create more deep shot opportunities this time around as the Giants secondary struggled to make a play on the ball in recent weeks. The Giants should take either a very aggressive or very conservative approach, blitz their lights out, or sit in quarters coverage and take away the over-the-top passes while having zone defenders watching Daniels' legs. Yeah, but, I agree with that. Obviously you don't want – if you got to make them – they're going to score, make them march down the field. Don't give them nothing deep, right? I mean, nothing. Don't give them it was a 48-yard completion there. Now they're in field goal range, just one play. Right? I mean, make them march. If they're going to go 48 yards, make them do it in 7 plays, right? Get off the field on 3rd down. I mean, if you get a sack, get off the field. They didn't punt one time. Not one time. You know how embarrassing that is? I mean, they had 7 drives and had over 200 yards rushing in 7 drives. I mean, over 200. I mean, they averaged basically like 30 on every drive they had. They basically had 7 drives. They averaged 30 yards rushing, 30 yards passing on every drive. We just couldn't stop them. It just penalties didn't stop their drives. Sacks didn't stop their drives. Incompletions did nothing. Nothing stopped their drives. I mean, we gotta get off the field. We gotta get off the field. And then we have to, get some turnovers. I mean, that would be huge, right? He's only thrown 2 interceptions. I mean, can we get a pick? Can we get a fumble recover? Right? Can we score? We scored some touchdowns, but can we? We're gonna go over there in a second here, right? Not the injuries. But then when we do score touchdowns, can we actually kick the extra point or actually get into field goal range? And we're going to go over the offense tomorrow night or tonight, right? But when you sack them, it has to end the drive, right? I mean, you got to do a much better job. I mean, this run defense is really, really sad, really sad. I mean, absolutely horrible. I mean, you give up over a couple hundred yards in a couple games, just inexcusable. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. So, Johnny's got the work cut out for him. He's really, really fantastic quarterback. And you can really see now that when Hard Knocks came out and Shane said, yeah, would you like to trade up and get Daniels? And Dave was like, oh yeah. So right, you could Daniels is all that and a bag of Doritos. I'll tell you what. Really, really good.